Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear us, Dodie? She might not be at it. Oh, there we
I'm here.
There she is.
go. How's it going?
Good. My electricity just went out. They're trimming trees. It just came back. So if I disappear, you know where I went.
Okay.
Wow.
Uh-oh.
That's
It's
a new
always the
one.
most convenient timing, huh?
Yeah.
All right. How's the summer going?
Very busy. Everybody has decided they're not going to travel far. They're going to come to the library for all the free programming.
There you go.
That's good though, right?
It is good. We're kind of understaffed, so it's kind of crazy. So yeah,
Mm.
it's good, but crazy.
This year's theme is pollinators, is that right?
No, this year it's Oceans of Possibility is what we're doing.
Okay.
So yeah, for our summer reading kickoff, I had the Anderson County Soil and Water Conservation come, Aniston Porter. I think she went through one of the triple facilitator trainings with you guys, and then had Manila Calhoun and Dupre. They have a Critters on the Go and then some. So they came and did water quality and a water table and talked about Coco Reyes. So they were out in the gardens trying to do talk about water conservation with our Oceans of Possibility. So yeah,
Hmm.
that was good.
Good partnership.
It is.
Good stuff.
So hopefully me and Aniston are going to try to do, we're kicking up homeschooling things at the library again this fall. So hopefully we'll get to do maybe some PLT with them.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Excellent. Dodie, my son is up in your neck of the woods today. He's he's at Anderson University doing a college visit with his girlfriend who's a junior. My son's a senior. He's already decided where he's going and everything, but
He's at Clemson, right?
he's going to Clemson. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was funny last night because we live in the Lexington area, and I was like, wow, I said, that's a long drive. And he's like, oh, it's only an hour. I was like, really? Have you mapped it?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Anderson, you've got about a 2 hour, 15-minute drive
Yep.
ahead of you.
Yep.
So
2 hour drive. Yep, at least.
yeah. All right, everybody else is joining in here. Hey, Cynthia, Jennifer, John. All right, let's see. I got Cynthia. Good morning. And we should have 4 more people joining us here. Ingrid, if any of you know Ingrid, Norris, Sharon Miller, Lynn Hoekstra, and Kelly Costner. So we'll maybe give it another couple minutes. We can do a sound check. Cynthia, can you hear us? Can we hear you?
I think you can.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yep, we can.
I
John, can you?
may be on and off video though, Matt, because I'm just typing in the chat. My daughter works from home and we're sharing the same connection. I'm in New Mexico.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's interesting. How about you, John? Can you hear us and can we hear you?
Yeah, I've got a good sound.
Okay, good. And Jennifer, how about you?
Can you guys hear me?
Yep. Yeah, we can hear you. You're a little soft, but
Okay.
yeah, we can hear you decently well. Are you in your house at Lynch's River?
I am. Yeah, I'm working from home right now because my office is actually at the splash pad. So I don't get a whole lot of work done when I'm in my office in the summer. So
Oh, do you just kind of move down there because that's where all the action is, or?
what, at the splash pad?
Yeah, do you kind of move down there for the summertime, make that your office, or what?
Well, so that is my office is in that same building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
in summer I actually come to my house mainly because
Ah,
it's too much going on down there in my office to be down there.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah. Hmm.
I always thought your office was there at the you call it the EDC, right?
Right.
Environmental.
Yeah. No, that's just the nature center. There's no
That's
office
just
space in there. Yeah.
okay. Okay.
Yep.
Good morning, Lynn. How are you doing?
Doing well, thanks. How about you?
Good. Very good, very good. All right. Glad to have you here. Let's see. Let's see. It is 9:01. Let's see. We still have, I guess, 3 more people that we're going to join here. Maybe we can give it one more minute. Let's see. I see a chat. Oh, okay, that was Cynthia. All right.
Did everybody get their guides in time? Okay, good.
Good,
The
good.
guy that left it sitting on the table by the door when I walked out this morning.
Oh, no.
I put everything by the door so I wouldn't forget it, and then I walked right by it.
I tend to do that too. I have to put like a backup post-it note in my car. Don't forget this thing.
Well, I thank you, Beth, for sending it when you did, because my husband got it and brought it on the plane with him.
Awesome. Good. I'm
I
glad
got
that it made it to you in New Mexico.
Oh. What's the temperature out there?
Let's see, right now it is about 82,
Okay.
67 overnight. So the desert cools off at night, and then it's going to be 94 for the high. But it's dry heat. It's wonderful.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too different than Colombia. Colombia is just a very wet heat, humid heat.
Yeah, I am ready for a break. I'm heading out to family vacation to Montana and Wyoming tomorrow.
Oh,
So I am really looking forward to
awesome. Yeah,
getting out of Columbia for a little while.
good. Well, it's dry and hot out here, but it sure is, it beats the humidity, that's for sure.
Uh-huh. Well, let's see. So I guess we'll go ahead. Do you think, Beth, should we just go ahead and get started?
I think that's fine.
Yeah, since it is 9:03 here, and if Kelly and Sharon can jump on, I'm just going to check to see. Okay, I haven't gotten an email from them, so yeah, we can go ahead and we can get started here. So yeah, so thank you everybody for coming to our virtual refresher. We started doing these, I guess, during COVID out of necessity, but now we kind of realize so we're going to try and continue to do this during the summertime to offer people options for attending a refresher and staying up to date and what's going on with National Project Learning Tree and our state program. And also we've got this new Trees and Me guide that I'm glad everybody got their guide in the mail. And we're going to what we're going to do here is we're going to first do our training like it would be a virtual Trees and Me training. And Beth, she updated the old environmental experiences for early childhood virtual outline. And so now there's a new outline for the new Trees and Me. It's very, very similar if you've already kind of thumbed through the book, but this new guide I think is great. It's a nice little improvement here. So just some logistics. So I think we'll probably, I would guess that we'll be together maybe for an hour and a half, no more than 2 hours. And if anytime you have any questions, you can just, unmute yourself or just shout out. We're going to keep this really informal. There's only 8 of us here right now, so that shouldn't be too hard. Or you can type it in the chat box, and Beth and I, whoever's not presenting, will kind of keep an eye on that, and we can answer some questions there as well. So, Beth, am I forgetting anything else?
No.
No? Okay. All right. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and we're going to kind of jump right into things here with our icebreaker here. And this icebreaker here is actually one of the PLT activities. So in the email that I sent everybody ahead of time, everybody was supposed to bring some natural items and some man-made items, and that were maybe different shapes and things like that. And so what I'd like for everybody to do right now is to share just one of your natural items and one of your man-made items, and tell us what shape it is. And I'm trying to think. So unfortunately, this just had to happen yesterday. The National Project Learning Tree site is down, and we can't log into it right now. Maybe it'll be working by our time we're done here, but I was going to show everybody the student page, or one of the resources that is a PDF that has all the basic shapes, square, triangle, star, things like that. So to kind of get the discussion going, because what we're doing, if you just want to kind of follow along, it's on page 15. We're doing the introducing the experience right now on page 15. So I will go ahead and I'll get us started. So I have two items right here. One is natural and one is kind of man-made, but also kind of natural here. So the first here is a gull, and I think it's on an oak branch right here. And the shape of this, so it's definitely circular, so three-dimensional. It's a sphere. Kind of looks like a lollipop. It kind of looks funny right here, but this is just a gull right here. And then here is some wax. And so we have wax is natural here, but it's in the shape of a cylinder right here. So this is wax that's used on an increment bore to kind of, I don't know if you've ever seen one of those things where you drill into a tree to see its age to get out a core, but this is what you put on it to kind of indicate it. So those are my two items, and my name is Matt Schnabel. I'm the environmental ed coordinator and PLT coordinator, and let's see, and level of, and if everybody can just say where they work, and just kind of introduce themselves. And I work at Harbison State Forest. Beth, you want to go next, or?
Sure. My name is Beth Foley. I'm the Assistant Education Coordinator for South Carolina Forestry Commission and the Assistant PLT Coordinator. I also work on a Harbison State Forest. Let's see, I brought for my man-made item, I have this really cool Smoky Bear ashtray, nice vintage item. I have lots of these, by the way, if y'all ever want some for a giveaway. We always joke that you could like punch a hole and make a nice ornament out of it or something. But this is a nice round circle shape. And then I also have this nice long turkey feather. This is my natural item. So this is kind of like a line, or I guess maybe the feather part could be kind of like a long rectangle.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Dodie, do you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Dodie Clark. I'm in Anderson County Library in downtown. Been with PLT, let's say forever. How's that? There we go.
I like that.
How's that? Okay. My natural item is a mulberry leaf. Okay. From one of my mulberry trees. So there's my natural. I don't know what you'd say for shape there. You have all different kinds of. We've got a point. We've got, what would you say for shapes?
Ooh, irregular, I guess.
The last lobe is kind of triangular shaped.
There we go. Okay. I would stump little children with that one. Sorry about that. And then my man-made, here it is. TP, toilet paper. Hey, my husband makes these at First Quality, but what shape do we have here?
Circle.
Cylinder.
Oh,
Circle.
Cylinder. Very good.
Awesome. Thanks, Dodie. And when you said I've been with PLT forever, I said that's good, because I want you to be around forever. All right. All right, and then Cynthia, you want to go ahead next?
Okay, can you all hear me? Yep. I have for my natural item an abalone shell. It's on the outside and smooth on the inside and beautiful. So I always like to use that with kids. And this one is, I would say, an oval kind of shape, maybe, you know, an ellipse almost, kind of a funny looking shape, but more circular. And then for my man-made item, I have a comb. And so my comb is rectangular, kind of like the turkey feather, long and thin. And I am working primarily as a data entry person right now, waiting for my option to get back into EE. But I am in New Mexico on vacation. I will be back in South Carolina about Labor Day. So I am taking an extended vacation with my family and taking care of my aunt. I've been a caretaker for her in Kansas City. So this is my break from doing that for 3 months. So she has dementia. So, but that's who I am. And I've been with EE. Let's see, I've been with Project Learning Tree since 2015. So, and I'm getting back into being a facilitator.
Thank you. All right, all right. Ingrid, do you want to go next?
Yeah, it might be a little bit loud because I had to go outside. I woke up this morning and a few minutes before we were to start, I have an ant invasion in my kitchen. So I had to do some mitigation there. So I'm having to be outside because I, had to spray inside and everything. So if all the trippers in the background get too much, I'll try to go kind of fast. So my
You sound fine.
natural item is this leaf here. And I wish I could identify it. I was going to, but then I had my ant issue. So, so the shape is kind of long and kind of oblong a little bit. And then, and my name's Ingrid North, and I volunteer in the Spartanburg area for just different agencies, and I've been with PLT since the 90s. And let me see. So my man-made item is a Q-tip. So it's kind of linear, but still very useful.
Very good. All right. Oh, and Kelly just joined. Okay. All right. Thank you, Ingrid. All right, John, do you want to go ahead and go next?
Okay. And for some reason, my charger is not charging my computer. So if I disappear, I will come back in on another device. But I've plugged, that's what I was doing, is trying to plug it in different places. But anyway. Okay, my natural item, I think this is, get it from the camera. Green screen is not cooperating. Okay. Service berry leaf. And they're kind of oval shaped with a sharp point, and they're clumped together. And for my other item, where's the camera? I have a box. If you can see it, I don't know what's happening with the camera here.
Okay. Yep, we see it.
I have a box, which is a rectangular solid, and I work at the Watershed Ecology Center at USC Upstate, and hopefully we'll start back in my role as teacher training as COVID has let us sort of get back to normal, kinda. And I was first trained in PLT in the 90s, and then a few years ago did the facilitator training to get re-certified after some years away. So off and on almost forever. Like
I like that. All right. Thank you, John. All right. Let's see. Next we have Jennifer.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, Park Superintendent at Lynch's River County Park, just outside of Florence, South Carolina. And I don't get a whole lot of opportunity to teach these, but one thing I do is teach part-time at Francis Marion University, and we actually do use some of these curricula in a lab for pre-in-service teachers, so it's kind of cool. So I still get to keep that up. And my natural then is a pine cone from the park, and not even trying to be a smart aleck, but conical. It's a cone shape. But yeah, spherical because it's round, all that kind of stuff. And then my man-made is my little chip clip plastic, but it does have some metal and magnet and all that kind of stuff on it. So, and I would say maybe triangular, I guess, with that one. Yeah, A-shaped. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jennifer. All right. Let's see. Lynn, you're up.
Lynn Hoekstra here in Columbia, and I'm not sure I can get my leaf on the camera. I've always walked past this tree and wondered what it was. So I'm hoping somebody can tell me. The leaf is 2 feet long. And I guess it's an oval shape, right? I'm gonna back up to get it in the camera. Any idea what this is?
Is it a big leaf magnolia or a Fraser magnolia? I kind of confused the two. Does anybody else know?
Yeah,
mean,
that's what I was gonna say.
You
Let me
think so?
grab my guide
Okay.
real quick.
Yeah, Fraser magnolia, but that's big. That might be like a special.
And they're all like this. I mean, this is just typical. I didn't find a large one. They really are this large.
Wow.
So it's like, what kind is this? And I'd have a tree ID guide in my office, but I'm not, I'm at home. So
Must have come from the Garden of Eden.
yeah, right.
Covers a lot.
And so for my man-made item, I just have little Post-its. So it's square. That leaf is kind of oval shape, and well, my Post-it notes are square. And I teach at CIU in the teacher education department, and I have been a facilitator since 2018, I think. So only 4 years, I guess. Seems like maybe should be longer, but okay, that's it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Lynn. All right. And last but not least, Kelly, can you hear us? No, I see.
I
Oh, there-
can.
Yes. All right.
And I think I'm starting video.
Yep. Well, I can hear you. I can see you.
Okay. So, sorry that I had trouble with WebEx. I've used it a number of times and things did not cooperate this morning for some reason. Must have been some kind of update since I've used it. And in fact, you're going to have to remind me what I need to do here.
Oh, just introduce yourself, where you work, what grade level you teach, or I know you work at Winthrop, and everybody was going to bring a natural and a man-made item and talk about its shape.
Okay, so
But
I'm
that's
Kelly
okay if you don't have
Costner.
that.
I'm Kelly Costner. I'm in teacher education at Winthrop University. And mostly work with, right now, I work with in-service teachers, but most of the PLT work that I've done recently has been with pre-service teachers. And I don't get to do this as much as I would like since the pandemic. We haven't done an in-person ourselves. And the online versions, we've done a couple of things, but people have been busy and just not able to add something else in. So for I saw a leaf, a couple of leaves. I don't have anything at the moment. That was the plan, but my yard work person is here and I can't go outside when that's happening. So let me just tell you that I would have brought probably a red oak leaf, which is shaped kind of like a hand, because it's got those different kind of like spokes that go out on each side. And for a man-made item, I'll take what's handy at the moment, which is a piece of mail, and it is rectangular. And I know that this paper is certainly made from wood, and that is a very simple kind of paper. I've also got some glossy catalogs here, and that takes a lot more processing.
All right. Yes. Yeah. Good. Good. I like that, Kelly. So, all right. Well, very good. Well, thanks everybody for introducing themselves. I just realized we have got 4 institutions of higher education here represented, so that's really cool. because that's honestly where, you know, we get a lot of our impact, is getting the guide into the hands of these pre-service teachers. And then when they go into the classroom, then they're ready to use the activities, have that resource on hand. So, well, thank you everybody for doing that. So that was the introducing the theme activity right there for activity 1, the shape of things. And that was on page 15. So that was our introducing the theme experience right there. And in this new guide, you might hear Beth and I use the term experience. So, and this is kind of the verbiage that National PLT is using. So there are 12 activities, but each activity has multiple experiences. So that's kind of the what you'll hear us kind of saying today. Now, in your guide, so that was the introducing the theme activity, and I'm not going to do the entire featured experience. If you flip the page to page 16, you have the featured experience, and if this was, say, a rainy day, or I'm going to share with you something really quick. So if this was a rainy day, or if this was a virtual training that you were doing, a virtual PD event, then I would take you on a shape hunt. And hold on, share application. Just trying to get this. Got it. All right. So and I've used this with some of the college classes. Oh, we have captions now. So yeah, so I would take them on a virtual shape hunt in nature. So we've got, and you can just shout it out. What shape do you see in here?
Hexagon.
Hexagons. All right. Oh, let me advance the slide. All right. Does anybody know what this is, and what shape do you see?
Ginkgo biloba.
Very good.
Yeah. Ginkgo biloba.
Yep.
Kind of a wedge shape or a fan shape.
Yeah, fan shape, or maybe a couple triangles put together. Yeah, or some people even said heart shaped.
Oh, that's where I'm at.
Yeah, a succulent right there. So I think
Yeah.
that's yucca of some type, or a aloe.
Yeah, or agave. I think it might be a agave or agave. But anyway, it's triangular, pointy.
Yeah, triangular.
And a spiral.
Yeah. And here we have a star shape, starfish, but there's also a circle in the middle of that. So star shape. And so you can see here, so I've got these different pictures. And so if you're doing a virtual training, this is one of the resources that's on the SC Facilitators webpage, you know, that webpage that we have for wet, wild, and PLT. And so this is like a virtual hike or a virtual shape hunt, and that is the featured experience. And so if it's raining or you can't get outdoors or you're doing something virtual, this is a resource that you could use if you would like to, right there. So I'm going to stop sharing that. So that was the featured experience, the shape hunt right there, and it's very similar to the old activity in the old guide, which was also a shape hunt. Sometimes we've made binoculars and gone out of toilet paper rolls, or made a telescope out of a paper towel roll and decorated them and gone outside. And that's also on page 19. That's one of the experiences for free exploration, is an art experience right there, making your binoculars or your telescope. But yeah, so that, thanks everybody again for participating. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to kind of do an introduction about the guide itself, and kind of, this is like a hike through the guide, and this is another presentation that we have on the Facilitators webpage that you could use if you're doing a virtual training. I think you've maybe participated where Beth or I have done the hike through the guide, and we're kind of flipping through the pages. So if you're doing it virtually, this is, maybe something that you might use. So let me go ahead and let me share with you the presentation about Trees and Me. PowerPoint. All right, let me get rid of this one PowerPoint and let me pull up this other one. There we go. All right. Do you see my other PowerPoint? Is that up now or not? No? All right. Okay, here it is. This should work. All right. Okay. Start. All right. There we go. All right. So so this is the new guide. Really excited about this new guide. So this really, it just came out this spring, and we've already hit the ground running, doing a whole bunch of PD events on this, including training. We just trained 23 new early childhood professionals from the ABC Quality Office, which is through DSS, as well as the University of South Carolina Center for Child Care, Career and Development Office. They have trainers that work for them. And so that's they're now trained as a special subset of PLT facilitators to do PD events at preschools and early learning centers across the whole state, only for this guide. But pretty excited that we now have this new kind of special group of facilitators. So here's a, you could pop in your own contact information here on the second slide. So this is an educator presentation, like if you're doing an educator PD event. So you can use these slides and edit them or use or not use them, but I'm just going to kind of show you everything that's included in the presentation. So a lot of times you want to set your outcomes at the beginning of a PD event. So in the next 3 months, participants will engage young learners in indoor and outdoor learning experiences using at least 2 activities from the Trees and Me guide. So just to let you know, so this new guide that came out, a lot of work went into creating this new guide. There were people that piloted the activities. One of our own facilitators, Tia Prostko, she now works in South Carolina, the Be Well, Care Well program, which is an early childhood program for actually early childhood teachers. But she was one of the contributing kind of authors for the new guide. But there's a lot of work that went into all these revisions, as you can see in this diagram right here. So the activity layout. So is you can kind of see, so the activity is laid out similar to the K-8 guide that we have. So there's a similar format to it. In the left sidebar, you have your objectives. You have your ideas for accessing the experience, your word bank, and then your STEM skills that activity covers right there. And then inside the activity, you have your background information for adults. So this information is intended for whoever is leading it. And so a lot of times, this is kind of comforting to teachers who don't know. They think, oh, I can't teach this concept because I don't know enough about it. But you can always assure them that everything that they need to know is right in the background information. Every single activity has a featured experience, and we just kind of did that with our virtual shape hunt. So this is something that it would be a kind of a teacher-led activity. All right, and then there are different group experiences. So all the group experiences are also intended to be kind of teacher-led. So example here highlighted are different experiences for music and movement. Here are some for reading and writing, write a group book. And then you move on from group experiences to the free exploration experiences. So free exploration means that these are experiences that might be good for, say, learning stations. So this is more self-directed learning opportunities right here. So that's what free exploration means. It has that that light bulb right there. All right. Every single activity, I don't know if you've noticed, but this is something that's brand new. So PLT is all about outdoor learning. So there's every single activity has this little side box here that is an experience that you can specifically need to have an outdoor learning environment for. So there are 12 of those. Take it outside. There's also every single activity has a little, this is something that's also new, exploring careers. So there's a little fun little experience where kids can experience some sort of green career. The one that's highlighted here is biologist, but there's all sorts of different ones, from being like an author, a chef, you know, things like that. So yeah, it's never too early to get kids kind of thinking about, you know, what sort of what they might want to do when they grow up. All right, just, you might have seen this already, but this little box inside each activity has the early learning standards. Now, just so you're aware, these are the early learning standards for K to 2. You know, this guide is intended, the intended audience is 1 to 6, but these are the national, this box is based upon the national standards for the NGSS, Next Generation Science Standards, and then the Common Core Math and ELA, as well as the National Social Studies Standards. So that is kind of what that box is covering. Then your reading list right there. These are all good books that go along with the experiences in each activity. And then there's also this section right here, things to do together. So on the family and friends page, these are either in the book, or you can also log on to the website, plt.org, and this page can be downloaded and emailed home as a PDF to the parents. But it's just kind of a way for the teachers to extend the learning at home. So every single activity has one of these. All right, so I'll kind of go over the online tools and resources here that go along, and I guess this is really good, especially since the website isn't working right now. So the Trees and Me landing page online, you would log on to your account and then access this through the My Resources hyperlink right there. So well, Beth will kind of show you some of the things that you can access directly from your phone later. All right, so moving on. So the target audience for this was ages 1 through 6. This is intended for anybody to use that works with early learners, from different formal and non-formal educators and parents. There are 12 different activities that are, oh, Ingrid said the website is working, so maybe that's good. So there are 12 activities. The old guide had 11 activities. The new activity that they added was 11 community explorers, but they're kind of grouped into three different kind of subsets right there. So using your senses is activities 1 through 4, seasonal changes 5 through 8, and then 9 through 12 is kind of exploring trees in your neighborhood, and a little bit of plant physiology, like how the parts of a tree work, and habitats and things like that. So senses, seasons, and trees. All right, so section 1 has 4 activities. So it's kind of broken down into color-coded sections. You might have already noticed that there's 3 different colors. The icons, I mentioned these kind of earlier, that you have your star for your featured experience, this symbol for your group experiences, light bulb, and then the book for your reading connections. All right, and then these are some new icons that they added. So in that first page for every activity, it has the sidebar information. And so if you see a tree, that means that that experience really needs to be done outdoors. If you see a gear, that means that that experience is like a STEM exemplar. So that means the kids are demonstrating all the skills of, under science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And then this new symbol here, so the old guide, I don't know if you remember, was designed for ages 3 to 6, but this new guide actually has some additional new experiences that are even intended for 1 to 2-year-olds. And so that's kind of exciting that they kind of added that as well for this new guide.
And Matt, just so the K-8 guide, the symbols are in the sidebar because it's for that whole activity. But since each activity within this guide, the Trees to Me guide, is a big activity, but there's lots of different experiences. If you look through, each experience actually has those symbols.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, okay, yeah, I was getting the two. Thanks, Beth. Yeah, that is, I guess it is just listed through each experience. I was getting the two guides. There's been so much that's come out with PLT National with new resources. It's been hard to keep it all together.
Yeah, this guide does have a similar feel to the new K-8 guide. A lot of similar, like Matt said, pop-out boxes and icons and features. So they look more cohesive now.
Yeah. So the under 3 modifications. So just kind of look for that that symbol right there for modifications for those experiences for the 1 to 2-year-olds. All right. And even in the reading list right there. Okay. All right. Some other things right here. Hold on. Let me go back. All right. All right, so I kind of already mentioned the Exploring Careers page, the Take It Outside. Another icon that you'll see throughout the activities is this safety icon, kind of common sense sort of outdoor safety tips for teachers. The Did You Know Forest Fact is also, that's information meant for the adults. So of course, the Sustainable Forestry Initiative is our national partner, our sponsor, and so they want people to know about forest ecology and forestry and the importance of it. So they added in this forest fact into every activity. Nice other new key feature you might have noticed is that there is a QR code that links straight to the soundtracks for the different experiences. And these are actually the same songs from the old guide, but of course they're still great songs, and so they included that. So with this new guide, you might have noticed you didn't get a CD, so they are not making CDs anymore. So you have to play it as a MP3 on your phone or on your computer or whatever. All right. So I kind of already mentioned the family and friends page, so we'll kind of skip that. Mentioned the early learning standards. All right, so if everybody can go ahead and turn in their books, I want to kind of explain this table right here on page 158 and 159. So the way we've actually used this on some PD events for in-service early child care professionals. And I told you earlier that these correlations are to the national standards, and I know a lot of early child care centers and places aren't using these national standards for K-2. However, this table here is a good way to find activities to meet your learning objectives. So, the science is in red, ELA is in purple, math is blue, and social studies is green. So, for example, let's see, if I was looking for an activity where kids were analyzing and interpreting data as a practice, as a science practice, can anybody tell me what 4 activities have experiences where kids would be analyzing and interpreting data? So what you do, you look in the column and find analyzing, interpreting data, and then kind of look across. And who can tell me what 4 activities?
2, 8, 9, and 11.
Yep, correct. Yeah, 2, 8, 9, and 11. So the square box means that that it's addressed in other activity experiences only. The checkbox means it's addressed in the featured experience only, and a star, it means it's addressed in the featured experience and other activity experiences. So this table, even though it's a lot to look at and to kind of digest at once, we have actually used it in a couple of our PD events that we've done at preschools as like an in-service for the teachers, and they've actually used these tables here to find activities to make a unit of instruction, where they've kind of been able to kind of piece together different experiences and different activities to meet their learning objectives. So this is kind of, it's similar to like the skills index and the topic index in the K-8 guide. It's just kind of a way to find activities to meet your needs. Are there any questions about that? No? Okay. All right. All right. Well, let's I'll kind of move on. Almost done here with this presentation. Another thing, if you can go ahead and flip over to page 160 in your book. This is an additional experience that that teachers can do, and this was kind of added. So SFI, our national sponsor, they work with indigenous populations and a lot, and so they added this experience as a way for children to kind of learn about appreciating where they are and who was in that place before them, right? So because most of us are immigrants, and so it's important for people to recognize those that were here before us. So this is kind of a cool activity, an additional experience here, Appendix F. All right, Appendix G has tips for outdoor learning. So this would be good for those type of people who don't get a chance to take their kids out, or maybe aren't comfortable taking their kids outside and learning. Also on page 163, tips for setting up an outdoor learning space. Okay, so I'll just there's all sorts of different tips in here. Okay. All right, and then lesson planning. So there's the table of contents. So we already kind of looked at that big diagram on page, what was that we were just on? Page 158 and 159. You can also use the table of contents on page 1. Different things that resources that teachers can use when they are doing their lesson planning to find activities to meet their learning objectives. So if you were to do a virtual training right here, you could use this slide right here. You could kind of take some time now where maybe they would split up into maybe age level teams, and then they would use these instructions here to kind of I don't know, for lack of a better term, kind of make a lesson plan. So this is just kind of something that you could use right here during an educator training. All right, and then debriefing. So you could, at the end of your training, you could use these debriefing questions with the people. And you know, this you could do this virtually or for in person. And here's some more debriefing questions. All right. And then here, just some additional information about PLT that was included in this presentation. I did not create this presentation. This was from National, but you know, always you can kind of pick and choose whatever you want to use in these presentations. Okay, all righty. And of course, those are the links to our online evaluation and participant information form. So, all right. So I know that was a lot right there, but are there any questions, or what are your first thoughts about this guide?
I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think having it for younger children is really important, because I think they start learning and respect for nature early. So I think this is a really great way for us to get that across to them before they get in elementary school.
Yeah, I think, respect for nature, and also just respecting it and realizing that we're a part of it, right?
Right.
So there's just a lot of fun experiences to get kids outdoors and caring about it. All right. Any other thoughts or questions about this this new guide? Ingrid? Yeah.
Matt, I had a question. So even with in person, are we encouraging them to do the review online, the information form?
Like the evaluation of the workshop?
Yeah.
Yes, we are. I definitely encourage everybody to use that even for in person. That's how we're keeping up with all of our data now, all in there. So even if you do a paper form, and that's okay if you still don't feel quite comfortable doing it, or you don't have good Wi-Fi or something like that. But when y'all send those paper forms into us, we still manually have to enter them. So it helps us a lot if you do it.
I know what we did one time was we actually printed off that page with the QR codes, and then the teachers used their phone to do the QR codes, and they could then go better, see and fill them out on their phone.
Yeah, and that's what we do. You could either put it on a projector slide, like on your PowerPoint, and they could come up and scan it. We have done that where we've printed on papers and we just collected the papers back so we could reuse them. Even recently, I just put it at the bottom of my agenda because you really don't need the code to be very big. One thing that we have noticed is with the participants entering their own data, even some of the basic information like which activity guide did you get trained in? Sometimes they still select the wrong thing. Was it in person? Was it virtual? How long was it? So on the participant information form, what we typically do is write down the first few things, like who's your facilitator, what location are you at, how long was the training, was it in person, was it virtual, and what is the activity guide. So those first 5 questions, even though it seems like it should be straightforward and it's on the agenda, we've noticed just writing it on the board for them helps or walking them through that. Because unfortunately we have to kind of go through and do some quality control. Even I've messed it up when I'm sitting there entering a bunch of forms at once. So we kind of keep an eye out for that, but it does help the participants writing some of that out for them.
Yeah, to be honest, I was scared at first to move over to the online forms, but then once you do it a few times, once you actually do it, then it's like, okay, this works pretty well. And question is there a picture release form? We don't have a photo release online digital form because I know they have to sign it, but I guess Yeah, because it has to have their signature on it. I guess we're not set up yet for an online photo release form, but that's a good idea, Dodie. We're moving
Doesn't,
forward.
Less paper, the better.
yeah, when you're recording an online though, they have to acknowledge the recording's in progress and agree to that. So I think that kind of covers that.
Yeah. Man. Yeah, that brings up whether or not just being on the call itself, you give your permission for your
Recorded
video
this
to be used.
day. We had to acknowledge that you were recording and okay that before we could come on. So I think that's part of that, but yeah, it'd be better to have something specifically photo, image, or participant image,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, maybe that's something we can work on as a digital photo release. I'll ask National. Maybe National PLT already has something like that. Probably not. All right. Well, I guess we'll kind of move on. Beth, do you want to move on to the next experience?
Yeah, we're going to move into the featured experience. So, like Matt said, we are kind of leading this like we would a virtual training. So we're going to do another activity with you that works really well virtually. And this is, if you've led early childhood virtual training, this is kind of the same activity I think that I had featured on that sample agenda. I just did take clippets from the new guide, and then, it has some of the new features like the QR code. So we're going to do activity number 2, which is sounds around. So you can see this is the overview and the objectives for the whole activity, but there's, typically at least like 10 or so experiences within each activity. So we are going to do the featured experience today, the forest concert. So you can actually flip to it in your book, and it's on page 24, or at least activity number 2 starts on page 24. Let me see if I can pull everybody's screen up real quick. Raise your hand if you've done this featured experience before, the forest concert. Have you, Cynthia? I think you were in the training when we first started the virtual training. I think Kelly Murphy led this activity. That was fun. Yeah, so Matt kind of, he did the hike through the guide, and if, the early childhood previous guide is really set up the same. Most of the activities are the same. There's a few experiences that are a little different or might not be in here, but generally like how the activities are grouped and the main theme of each activity is the same. So Sounds Around was in the old guide. And it's all about students using their sense of hearing. So you can see on page 24 and 25, there's a good bit of background. So mostly kind of explaining how do sounds work, how do we make them, how do we hear them. So in introducing the theme activity, they have you kind of have students go and listen to sounds, whether that be right outside their classroom, if they can actually go to a nearby forest, maybe they're in a more rural area and they can hear some of those natural sounds. But it also has you use some of the tracks. So you can see the 2 QR codes for track number 3 and number 4 there on introducing the theme. And I really love this because PLT does a good job with this and the new K-8 guide, realizing that not all classes and groups have easy access to a forest or a natural area. So they made a point to really adapt some of these activities for urban areas. Some of these kids may have never been in the woods, or hardly spent any time outside. So track number 3 is neighborhood sounds, and those might be things that they can identify more with. So you can introduce them to that and then play track number 4, the nature sounds, which we'll listen to a clip of here, and have them maybe kind of compare and contrast, and you could maybe introduce them to what some of those sounds are. So I love that they took that into consideration. And then if you flip on to page 26, that's where the featured experience is listed. So this is the forest concert. So this is a 3 and under activity. So this is good for the little ones too. And then you see the QR code is listed there. This is, if you look at the directions, it has a little tree on it. So it's saying this is something that you can do outside. It's good to take your students outside and listen to the natural sounds around your school or your center. But if not, then you always have these tracks that you can play. So you can scan this and pull it up on your phone. I'm gonna just, because the website's not working right now, I'm gonna play it from my phone to my speaker. But just so you know, I'll show you, I think after we wrap up with this training, where you would find the resource. We won't be able to see it directly, but you can still pull these up online. There's just no like physical CD associated with it. So if it's easier, especially during a training, if you just want to play that through the projector, you can bring that up on your computer versus your phone. But you can also very easily scan this code here. So let's listen to this track first, and everyone let me know if you can't hear it or anything, and just listen to all the different sounds you hear, and maybe just put them in the chat box as you hear them, okay? Can you guys hear this?
I thought I heard something at first.
Here we go, I got my volume all the way up now. Okay. Can you hear that? No?
It sounded, I heard a little chattering. It sounded like a chipmunk chattering.
Can't hear that? It's so loud here.
No, you're just holding up your phone to the speaker.
Well, how about, does everybody have a smartphone on them? You can just scan this code right here. Yeah, and let's just listen to it individually. How about that? We'll have a silent disco. And y'all can still punch in, yeah, what you hear in the chat. Sorry, I thought that would work. It's loud on my end. Check the website one more time.
Yeah, I just did. The web page is up and working, but you can't log on still.
Okay. All right. I see though that we've got birds put in the chat, maybe a cicada, some dogs and coyotes. Kind of runs through a few different scenes. Anything else? Birds and wind. The ocean, yep, there's the ocean.
Okay.
Chattering, wind, howling, barking.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it sounds like y'all have got to hear most of it. You don't have to listen to the whole 3 minutes of it. Your cat's enjoying it. Looking around, where are those birds? I'm gonna get them. Well, it's a great thing to play, whether you want to take your kids outside and also play this. I mean, some kids may have never been to the beach, and some kids may live at the beach and really identify with the waves and the wind and everything. Sorry, Cynthia, maybe when you've got better internet, you can listen to that. But I really love that you can pull this up on your phone. It's just super easy and accessible, I think, to anyone with a smartphone, I guess, or a tablet. I know at my son's daycare, they all have tablets, so it'd be easy for them to pull that up and play it for the kids. Okay, guys, so let me go back and share my screen. So really cool
And
way.
Cynthia, to answer your question, I think all these can be downloaded onto your phone.
Yes. Yeah, I believe you can download them. They're all MP3s. And then, you know, they're also housed on PLT's website under the resources for PLT, where you would go print off like the student pages or friends and family pages and find additional resources. They're also located there. So that might be an easier way to download it. Yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to do this forest concert. So on page 26, you can see that this is a fun way. The featured experience is really a cool activity to do, and we do it a lot of times in our PD events because it's designed to help spark the children's interest through like an open-ended exploration or observation. So it's a great way to kind of get them excited about the theme and the topic. So what I want you guys to do is for this activity, we're going to focus more on making these sounds with our voice or our body. You certainly can, with the students or participants, you can use instruments. And even in the woodworking section of this activity, it tells you how to make a lot of these instruments. So I think that's really awesome. You know, making basic things like a rain stick, that's another activity within here, or making a little like guitar or noisemaker is always fun with the students. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to make these fun forest sounds. So if everybody could unmute themselves. This is a good one to do virtually. It's pretty easy to do virtually. Okay, so let's go through in order and practice these sounds. So birds. So I think we all know what birds sound like. Let's hear you guys, your best impersonation of a bird.
Caw, caw.
That's a good one. Fish and crow. I can't hear all of you. All right, very good. Okay, so let's hear what an insect might sound like. Maybe a bee or a cricket or. All right. Okay. What about squirrels? A little chattering sound.
Click sticks or rocks together.
Good. Sometimes squirrels can be really loud and aggressive, start yelling at you when you walk by. Yeah, the rocks, clicking the bottle cap or rocks together. We did this with some early childhood educators recently, and I just found natural items and had them do the voice and body, and then like clicking pine cones together and rocks together for this. Okay, let's hear your best wind impersonation. All right. Okay, now rain. Like the clicking. Okay. Oops. Thunder. I think you guys need to be louder. I can't hear you. Boom.
Pounding my desk.
Okay, good job, guys. All right, so now we are going to do our concert. So what I'm going to do, can everybody see my mouse moving around?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'll kind of tell a story. Let's see. We'll do a story about Sebastian the squirrel here and his day in the life of the forest. So as I move it to each sounds box, I want you to make that sound. I want you to make it loud so we can all hear you. And then when I move it out, then you can stop. Okay? So make sure you're watching where the mouse goes and which box it's in. All right? Okay, so Sebastian the squirrel, let's see, it's like 4 a.m. It's before the sun has not risen yet, so he is sleeping up in his little squirrel's nest. And our insects are chirping. So we've got our crickets and things chirping through the night. All right, good job. My mouse keeps disappearing. All right, and now the sun is slowly starting to rise, so our birds are starting to call.
Chickadee, 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 chickadee.
All right, so the sun is up, the earth is warming up, and all of our animals are starting to wake up. So Sebastian the squirrel is up, and he's around foraging for food and chattering around. Okay, so he's out just foraging and having a lovely day, hanging out in the forest, eating some bird seed from your yard. And he's looking around, and clouds are moving in, and the wind is really starting to pick up. All right. And oh no, looks like a storm is moving in. Oh no, here comes the rain. Uh-oh.
Oops.
I clicked my keyboard to make the rain sound. So it's not a good idea. And here comes thunder. And lightning. Thunder. Big storm's coming through. Better take shelter. Oh no. All right, and it's starting to clear out, but we can still hear the rain. And the wind's blowing it out. And now the sun has come back out, and our birds are happy again. They can come out and are flying around and chirping. All right, and then the sun is finally starting to settle. Mr. Sebastian does a quick forage, eats a little more food before he goes to bed, and is chattering. And then he goes to bed, and then the crickets come back out. All right, good job, guys. Give yourself a round of applause. All right, so that's a fun activity that's pretty easy to do virtually. I think it's always fun, you know, to add different things. I meant to make y'all do little motions or something with it, but got caught up in the moment. But oops, messed up my slides. Let me stop sharing. Has anyone done that activity in person at a training or with students before? Yeah, yeah. Maybe share with us if you don't mind how you did it or if you did it differently.
We did that with preschool when I was working at the museum, and I think the thing they enjoyed the most was collecting things to make sounds. So we collect pebbles and put them in, like you said, like a tube, like toilet paper tube, or we would sticks, and they just enjoyed collecting the little items to make the things and then making the sounds with them.
Yes, yeah, and listening to the differences in those sounds and how a pine cone might sound different than a rock and different than a stick. So I think anytime they can go collect the items themselves, it's a lot more fun. For the participants, when we did this training, I pre-collected it to save time, but for kiddos, I definitely would have had them collect it. What about you, Lynn? I think
we made them put it back too when they were done.
Good. Good. Yeah, that took me a while to collect all those things and then put them back myself. Lynn, did you do anything different with yours, or do you do this with your students?
Yeah, I've done this one, and I've also combined it then with the children's book, Good Night Owl. Just, you know, and combine those experiences so that they can make the sounds of the animal during the story, and it's really noisy, and yeah.
That's awesome. Good. Yeah, that's a great way to kind of introduce it, is also doing reading and writing and doing a storybook, as well as, you know, playing those tracks or listening outside. Any other ideas on how to vary this or extend it? Yeah, Sharon.
Video, audio.
Yes, we can hear you. You're a little quiet, but
you're a little quiet. I don't know if you can get closer to your microphone.
Yeah, is that better?
Yes, that's better.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I should have gone on the laptop probably. I'm on the desktop and sorry I'm late. But tropical
Glad to have
tree,
you.
thanks. Tropical treehouse, that's very similar. I've done that one in the past, and I haven't looked up to see if that's included in still in the old one, the K through 8, or in this one.
I don't think that the tropical treehouse is in the new K-8 guide.
No, it
There's
got
trees as
axed.
trees as habitats, I think, still.
Yeah, maybe incorporate, but very similar, but the sounds were all in a tropical rainforest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was not familiar with that one, so.
Am I remembering correctly, Matt? It is tropical treehouse. I think.
Yeah. I think so. I'd had to grab my pre-K-8 guide over on the shelf.
Okay,
That's
cool.
very similar with the birds and the trees. Is it before the rain comes in the rainforest for the afternoon or something, and then as the rain goes away, and you have the pitter patter sounds, and yeah, I like that one. I like to use that. So I'm happy to see this one in here. Mhm.
Good.
We
Okay.
read a lot of Toad and Me stories sometimes, the Toad and Me book. And that's one that they really like, that's popular, and you can make a lot of the frog sounds and the different animals in the water.
Cool. All right, awesome ideas. Okay, well, that was the featured experience forest concert. Any questions or other comments about that before we wrap up with that?
That's good.
Okay, well, thank you for participating. Okay, well, I think I'm going to turn it back over to Matt, who's going to wrap it up and show some of the facilitator resources.
Yeah. All right. So normally we would do a kind of show everybody the website resources, show you how to log on and where the Trees and Me landing page is. So I encourage you all to check that out on your own. Unfortunately, it's not still not up and running yet. However, I do want to just kind of briefly just show you again the facilitator's home. So I know that we've now been using this for a couple, I guess since we did our triple facilitator training last summer of 2020, was it 2021? That's right, 2021. So here on this landing page, if you click the Plt Resources, I encourage everybody to, anytime that you're doing a PD event, to go onto here and use the forms that are on here, because these are always the most up to date. For example, the PD event paperwork, this is really important for our grant reporting. The in-kind sheet, for example, the old sheet, it was 56 cents per mile, and now we've changed it to 0.585 cents per mile because that's the state's new reimbursement rate. And it's not that our state program, we don't have to follow what the state of South Carolina does, but it just kind of keeps it simple and easy, just as a kind of a point of what's the word I'm looking for? Just a reference, a standard that we kind of use. But here, this is under PD event paperwork. This is where you'll find everything that you need. You have your PD event proposal, so make sure to send that to me at least a few months ahead of time. The more time we have to plan and market the PD event, the better. And then also send you your tentative agenda. And then here you have your other forms. So your PD evaluation, your participant information form, these are like the paper copies right there and right there. And then we have this. Maybe some of you have already seen this or used this before, but this is something that you could print out and then pass around the room if you're doing an in-person training, and then people can scan it with their phones and then fill out these forms online. So you got that stuff right there, and then your in-kind expense report that I showed you, and then of course the cover sheet. So this is kind of summarizes. Oh, and looks like this is an old one, so I have not uploaded the new form that has the new K-8 guide. So again, normally this would always have the most up-to-date forms, but I guess I need to update the cover sheet, so that's a little outdated. But under other things under the facilitator webpage right here, you have all your resources for outreach and leading PD events. So that's your resources for a blended PD event, virtual PD events, logos, lesson plan worksheets that you can use when you have your lesson planning time, icebreakers, forestry information. This is something that we really would love to at least hand out and give to everybody at each one of the PD events, is just, even if it's just giving everybody this simple forest fact sheet. But this is something that we created this year, so people kind of understand that, you know, trees are big business in our state. So you don't have to spend a lot of time talking about this, but if you could just share this with people at your PD events, that would be great. So that's all under there. But under here, under curriculum resources, so if you click there, and then you go to early childhood, okay, this has all the stuff for the new Trees and Me guide. So if you're doing an in-person PD event, this is what they call a leaf through the guide. And so this is like a worksheet you could hand out to people, say as they come in through the door, and you choose a certain activity that they're gonna concentrate on to find the answers to. So you could do it that way, and then you could go over the answers with them later. Or you could kind of do it the way that Beth and I we've usually done it, is we'll flip through the pages in the guide, and then we'll do kind of a question and answer, like a quiz show. And you can, you know, ask them these questions, and then they can find the answers for each one of your questions and have some prizes for them. So you've got that. So you've got your hike to the guides, your other resources, your PowerPoints. So for example, the PowerPoint that we used this morning is right there. So you can download this and edit it and use it however you see fit best for your needs. And then as well as a virtual, then there's the general PowerPoint that just has kind of the general background information about the program, and I'm sure you're familiar with that. So that's right there. And then one also for virtual training as well. So this one kind of goes along with the Trees and Me outline. There's some questions. There's a few extra things here at the end, like there's Beth's slide that she used earlier right there that goes along with the outline if you're going to do a virtual training for Trees and Me. So, and then here are other resources. So here's all the instructions for the different kind of components, different things that you might do inside of a Tree and Me PD event. This is one, let me see here. Oh, lesson planning template. Earlier I mentioned to you that some of our in-service teacher Trees and Me trainings, we've actually used this lesson planning template, and that big kind of complicated or kind of intimidating looking table of contents guide there at the end, or not table of contents, what do they call it, Beth?
Appendix E.
Yeah, Appendix E. Yes, Appendix E. And they use that appendix, page 158, and then they use this lesson planning template, to create kind of a little unit outline right here. And so they kind of write in the activities that meet their learning objectives right there. And then they use the Appendix E to help them complete that. So I just can kind of encourage you next time if you're planning a Trees and Me PD event to kind of take a look at these different things. You know, it's always kind of meeting our audience where they are. And so if you do a virtual training for Trees and Me, there is one thing that's a little different. So National PLT, they have not yet created an accompanying online course that is sufficient enough for our needs, for our state program needs. So for Trees and Me, so it's a minimum of 3 hours of contact time. And so if you wanted to do it 100% virtual and have that 3 hours contact time all through Zoom, you could do that. And if we could arrange to like mail, kind of like we did with like, if you want to somehow a way for them to get the physical copy of the guide, they can do that. Or if, I don't know if you remember the way that we're doing it before, we're doing an hour and a half of face-to-face time. And then we're assigning them a code for them to get an electronic copy of the guide, plus for them to complete their training online. However, what National PLT has created so far, it only took me 15 minutes to get through their online course, and that's not really sufficient in our eyes as a steering committee. So kind of right now we're kind of just doing in-person trainings, but you could also do hybrid. So if you don't have a whole 3 hours of time, if you wanted to do something hybrid where you're doing it online for a bit and then some face-to-face time, you can do that as well. Another thing I will share with you, one more thing. Let me go back to the facilitator's webpage. Sometimes if I'm doing a split session where I see the students or the group for like an hour and a half, and then maybe a couple weeks later I see them for another hour and a half, and say there's somebody who missed one of the sessions, there is this little homework assignment right here, and you could, if you want to, let them complete this homework assignment. It's a specific homework assignment for the Trees and Me guide. It's an overview of the PLT program, plus it's an overview of the website, plus it's kind of a hike through an activity. But you can see right here, if you look at number 4, I'll kind of highlight it. This one is specific to the Trees and Me guide. So just to make you aware, we want to get the guide in the hands of people, so we want to be as accommodating as we can. So this is something that we have used sometimes if someone doesn't make it to one of the sessions. Are there any questions about that? No? Yeah, and so this new Trees and Me course is approved for SC Endeavors credit. Raise your hand. Who here is familiar with SC Endeavors? One hand, 2, and Beth. Okay. All right. So SC Endeavors is the state program through DSS where early childhood educators and people who work at preschools or daycares, it's where they get their continuing education. And Trees and Me, we just got it approved as a SC Endeavors course. And so when the teachers complete, or whoever completes their training, as long as they have an SC Endeavors number, it's a 6-digit number, they can get that official credit. So just so you're aware of that. So if that is something that that you would like to offer, you can get in touch with me and I can get you registered as one of our official trainers for the Trees and Me course so that your participants can get that credit. Now, if it's like Lynn, for you example, it's you're working with primarily pre-service students, so they're probably not going to need the SC Endeavors credit because they're not like working in a preschool yet. But like when we did Pawleys Island Christian Academy, and then we did a PD event for Vital Connections of the Midlands Early Head Start. All of those people, yeah, they really wanted that SC Endeavors credit because it helped. They have their own their certificate that they have to renew. So just so you're aware that that's kind of another little carrot to kind of dangle or a nice little reward or a bonus that they get for completing the training. And again, we do have grant money. Thankfully for international paper and SFI education grant, we still do have grant money to cover the cost of these trainings for pre-service teachers and for if a school or like an early child care program like your First Steps or if it's through ABC Quality, anything like that, if it's like an organized training for a specific group, we have money to make that free for people, as long as they have a SC Endeavors number.
Question.
Yeah.
Am I muted?
No, I'm just kind of.
I have a
I can
question.
hear you.
Okay. Unlike at Tri-County Tech, where they have an early childhood program, I don't remember if it's a 1 year or 2 year, but would they fall into pre-service? They wouldn't have this number.
Yeah, that is actually. I just was at Florence Darlington Technical College last week, and their early child care program is a 2-year program, and all of those students are all registered with SC Endeavors. And so the professor there, she's actually training to become a facilitator right now. So yeah, all her students are all getting that SC Endeavors credit because they're all like 2nd-year students, and some of them are already working at preschools, and so they need that credit. So yeah, I would say Tri-County also has a similar program. I would
York Tech does too. York Tech, they
Yeah.
also have them.
Yeah.
It's
So,
like for people who might be like a kindergarten assistant working in a public school, something like that.
yeah. So are y'all contacting them to let them know it's available, or depending on us to make those contacts?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. Yeah, the word is getting out that we have this great curriculum. So yeah, we're getting a lot of requests for trainings for this.
And I know a lot of the technical schools have an early childhood program where they go through and do daycare for the professors on site as part of their training. And then they also get a 2-year certificate for being a certified preschool teacher in South Carolina.
Yep. That is correct.
And I do have a open to the public training coming up that I would love help sharing because I need some more people to sign up. But it's scheduled for August 12th, which is a Friday from 9 to 12 p.m. at Harbison State Forest. So if you have someone, we're always happy to go in and train a center or students, but if you have some homeschool educators or someone who's able to take time off maybe from work and interested in attending, please share that. And we have that flyer on our website where we post all of our upcoming open to the public trainings.
Yep, I just put it in the
How
chat
much
box.
is?
That one is free.
Okay, how much is that one, Beth?
That one's free.
Oh, okay.
So that one, Harbison is our Midlands EE Center, Plt EE Center, and we got grant funding again this year to offer free trainings at all of our EE centers. So we decided to do it in do it in the Trees and Me guide, since that's a great new resource. So yeah, the SFI education grant is paying for that. So please do share that. And I meant to share earlier, I was just going to pull up the website real quick. And if you don't mind, I'm going to show that. Where you would generally find these resources, let me go to the home page and get rid of this screen. So right now it's not really letting us log in. When you log in, it gives you this error screen. I figure it's worth trying one more time. But you know, for the resources for the Trees and Me guide, just like the K-8 and the other guides, you can, when you're logged in and on your account home, on the sidebar, there's resources for Plt Lessons, a quick link that you can choose. Or you can go into resources, the tab at the top, and then resources for Plt Lessons. So when you click on that, it wants you to log in. So we at trainings, we always encourage participants to go ahead and sign up for an account. It's free, and then they get access to all these additional online resources, including those free family and friends activities. So they get so much more on the website too. It does want you to log in to get that, and that's where we're getting held up, so we can't. But when you log into it, you would scroll through and you would see the K-8 and the secondary guides. Trees and Me, I think, is now towards the top because it's a new one. And I believe it has its own kind of web page like the K-8 guide. So when you click on that, it'll open a new window, and that's where you'll find like the MP3 tracks for the CD, the family and friends pages you can print out, you know, additional resources for each lesson, some things that kind of build off the different appendices in the back, and lots of just like great additional resources for the guide. So definitely check that out, and share that at your trainings when you're showing the website.
Hey, Beth.
Yeah.
Hey, can you show them really quick the green schools for early childhood?
Yeah, so if you go to the Green Schools tab, and then go down to, there's a separate set of investigation guides for early childhood. So there's ones that are more kind of secondary based, but they actually have one specific to early childhood. So this is always a great thing to also show during your trainings. It breaks down the 5 investigations, these booklets. So you can download these for free online. And they do want you to sign up to become a green school to get these.
Actually,
So,
Beth, that's actually different. I was actually going to talk about that. It's a
Oh,
little weird. For the early childhood green schools guides, you don't have to register. All you do is
okay.
just click on that hyperlink and it just brings up the whole investigation. Now for the other ones, you do have to register, you know, like download them onto your PLT account. I don't know why that is. It's National's website, but for the early childhood ones, you just click on the link and it downloads the whole thing.
So it looks like this is the educator guide. Oh, and then you just click each one. So I'm sure you, it looks like you, I'm sure you can download this as a PDF. Yeah. Now, can you get the paper guides too if you want, Matt?
You know, I'm not sure if they are printing this right now.
Okay.
And we can't log on to the website
Yeah.
to see it unless it's under the shop. But
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean that's pretty easy to download there. Let's see real quick. The shop is kind of not working great either. I don't see it for early childhood under the shop. So, but pretty easy to, you know, download and use that there. And then gosh, this thing gets in my way. Going back to the main page, I'll just show you real quick too. Just like our correlations for the K-8, we are going to have this correlated to the new, well, the DSS early learning standards. So our old guide was also correlated to this. We're getting the new Trees and Me guide also correlated. And the way you can find that is going under the curriculum tab and then alignment to standards, and go to the state correlations and then click on South Carolina, and that's going to take you to our Forestry Commission page for PLT. Scroll on down and then you'll see we have our standards for the K-8, the focus on forests, and this is the old early childhood guide. So we will have this listed here once it's updated. We'll list it as trees and me so that you can differentiate the two. But it should look similar. Tia Prasco, who Matt mentioned earlier, is one of our facilitators, and she used to work for ABC Quality with DSS. She's working for South Carolina PICA now, and she is very familiar with all this. She uses PLT a lot, so she's a great person to do these correlations. So it'll be broken down by each experience within each activity again. So it should look pretty similar to this. So always another great thing to also show during your trainings, the curriculum and alignment to standards. So any other questions about how things are laid out on the website? Sorry, we cannot show you more, but definitely check it out. Hopefully the website will be up later today, but not 100%.
And those early learning standards, those are the Department of Education early learning standards. And you could look at those online. But I do know, and someone actually asked me this at the last PD event I was at last week at Florence Darlington, and they said, hey, the early learning standards are being revised, and they are being tweaked a little bit, but the domains, like none of them, they're not changing that much. So yeah, so we're going to get those correlations up, and then those correlations should be good for as long as we have the Trees and Me guide, and for as long as we have those new early learning standards. Okay. Well, I think that's all that I have on the agenda for the business side of things. But yeah, so again, us as facilitators, we're just trying to meet our audience where they are. So just keep in mind, whenever you're planning a PD event, we can be flexible, right? So it can be hybrid, we can do a bit virtual, some in person, so we're just trying to meet the audience where they are, because we know that teachers and other people are really busy. So we can be flexible. So if you have a crazy idea for a PD event, bring it to me, okay? Because I think we can probably do it. So yeah, so does anybody have any other questions about the guide? I do, you know what, there were just a couple announcements that I wanted to make. There is a new brochure for South Carolina PLT. It'll be not a trifold brochure, it'll have 4 things, but we'll hopefully have that here in the fall sometime. So if you are doing a just like a teaser presentation, or if you say you go to a conference or something, and you are able to hand out some information about Project Learning Tree, just let me know. But this is one that we have created ourselves for our state program. I'll also have a digital copy of that, will be online, and I'll make an announcement about that. So pretty excited that we haven't had a brochure in a while, because National PLT stopped providing those for the states last year. Also, just a reminder about our Facilitator Rewards program. So as you know, we always try and, if we didn't have our facilitators, we wouldn't have a program. And so, so it's this like kind of point system. So depending on how many PD events you lead, or how many presentations you lead, or whatever, we do have that reward system in place. And those standings of the points are on the South Carolina Forestry Commission's PLT page, under that little section that says Facilitators Corner. So if you're interested about that, they got some pretty nice little rewards, going to the national conference, and then some other gift cards and things like that. But hopefully everybody who led a PD event in 2021, you got your Christmas card with a little gift. So again, we appreciate everything that people do for the program. So Beth, did you have any other announcements?
Yeah,
Any updates?
just a couple quick ones. Matt and I just went to the Plt Coordinators Conference a couple weeks ago in Madison, Wisconsin. And this year there was a joint conference with SFI, which was really cool and interesting to meet some of those folks all across the states. So we had some joint sessions, and then we kind of had some of our own PLT sessions too. But Jerry Taylor was there, who is the Director of Diversity and Career Pathways with SFI. And she did several sessions on diversity and inclusion. And her kind of baby and her project she's been working on is the Black Faces in Green Spaces, the journey of Black professionals in green careers. So this is not officially printed, but will be printed very soon. So they just gave us a sample, which has a few pages from it. But this is really cool. She talked to us about it a little bit, and it's just like a great way to help introduce marginalized communities to different opportunities in green careers. She explained to us that like less than 3% of foresters and conservation scientists identify as Black Americans, and so a lot of this is just due to lack of awareness. So this was made to kind of show like representation within their race of jobs that they could be doing outside. So this does have like a forest focus on it, and it's got highlights from real people, real life people. We got to actually meet Jasmine at the conference and hear about her background and her struggles and what she had to overcome even within her family, just to get a job in this field. So they get to meet people, hear about their background. They really see their career pathways. I know that's like backwards for you guys, but they get to learn about their education, their experience, and what they do now. So I think this is super cool. She told us that this really will pair well with like the Green Jobs Guide. So the Green Jobs is more geared towards secondary, and it's all about exposing students to green jobs and learning about that and what opportunities they have. And then this could go well to show, hey, here are some real life people and this is what they're doing. So that's really cool, and that will be coming out soon. And then they also told us they'll have a very similar guide that's going to be focused on Indigenous people and their background and where they work. So just kind of keep that in mind, especially as we're doing outreach and trying to diversify our program and make sure we're also reaching marginalized communities. So cool resource coming out soon. And then one other thing I was just going to mention is I mentioned earlier that our PLT EE centers, we got grant funding to have a free training at each EE center. A couple of those have not set up their trainings yet. So just keep in mind that, these are open for y'all to host trainings at too, not just the staff on site. If y'all have a center nearby and you think it's really cool and you want to go host a training at Roper Mountain, please let me know or reach out directly to your center coordinator, and y'all can kind of work together. You may have a specific group you want to work with, or you might just keep it open to the public. And don't forget that there are tree trunks there. That's a big project I'm working on. I think I'm getting to it soon. It's been on the back burner a little bit, but I want to revamp and revise and add new materials to these tree trunks. Unfortunately, these have not gotten used very much at all. And when we originally made them, the idea was that they are there for facilitators to use and only facilitators. And they weren't really getting used much. And some of that might be proximity, but we opened it up to educators now, and they're still not getting used much. So I'm hoping maybe revising some of the materials, maybe repackaging, making it a little easier to transport might help. Right now, there's only stuff in there for the pre-K to 8 guide, so that needs to be updated. But we're thinking about adding stuff for early childhood and then stuff for secondary, and maybe even making them 3 separate packages. So if you just want to take one package for one guide. But I would really love to hear feedback from y'all, especially if you've used it, used these before. Like Cynthia, you were at Museum York County, so you're very familiar with what's in there. Any feedback you can give me that you might like to use as a facilitator, or you might think participants might appreciate having, maybe something that's harder for them to get their hands on. I know Matt had the idea of maybe for secondary guides, we get, DBH tapes and, maybe Biltmore sticks and some are forestry measurement stuff that teachers might not have access to. But also at the same time, we want to make sure we're not spending all this money getting this stuff out there and then it still doesn't get used. So if y'all have any ideas on how to better advertise these and just get the word out, I think some of it's just still teachers just might not know about it, might not know that the resource is there. So please just like shoot me email, give me a call, let me know. Any feedback is helpful because I'm just kind of in the beginning planning stages for that. Okay. Any questions or comments about that? All right. Well, I think we were going to wrap it up by letting you guys go around and do like round robin sharing. If y'all want to kind of let us know what you have going on, if you maybe have a training you're planning and need help, please let us know. So let's see, I'll kind of go through in order that I see here. So Sharon, I see you on my screen first. Is there anything that you want to share out with us?
Yeah, I brought my ginkgo leaf. I missed out on that part.
Oh
of it.
yeah. Yeah, share your natural and man-made
Wasn't
items.
sure what we were going to do with it. I didn't try to figure it out from the guide, but I thought that maybe it might be one that not everybody sees very often. So
Yeah.
and this one's a little not characteristic. The biloba. There should be a lobe this way and this way. This guy has an extra one, looks like. But anyway, again, I
Triloba.
apologize for being late, but just tagging on to your the tree trunk there, we Thea Hagan and I just worked with some Girl Scout leaders a couple of Saturdays ago and told them about it, and there was interest in having that available to them to work with within their Girl Scout badge, brownies, daisies, possibilities there. I guess I'm Sharon Miller, retired higher ed biology. Never used PLT formally in my classroom in an ongoing way, just sort of segments here, there, and yonder, but worked with pre-service teachers at Clemson University and informal educators through the years. I was trained with PLT somewhere back in the 80s, I think. So retired, but can help when I can. I'm glad to help, still wanting to preach the good works of PLT. Thank
There
you.
you
Not
go.
bad.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. I see Cynthia up next.
Yeah, I think I have so much I could say. I will make it brief. My biggest love of PLT is that it reaches kids at every level and every interest. So even if kids aren't outdoor kids and don't go camping, hiking, and doing all that stuff, they still get so much pleasure out of being outdoors and doing an activity where they can, have some kind of voice and participation. And I just find that it works with scouts, it works with homeschool, it works with, grades. My favorite thing to do with it really is to teach teachers how to use it. But I think there's a lot more to be said for going out and doing the activities with kids and getting, if you're a facilitator, hopefully you've already done that. But that's where the joy comes in, enjoy the activities and be part of it.
Thank you for sharing. You froze up a little bit there at the end, but I think we got the gist. All right. Thank you, Cynthia. Okay, Lynn, I see you next.
Yeah, I'm a big proponent of outdoor education, so PLT just fits so well with that. I love the materials, awesome, very excited. One thought I had, Beth, when you were talking about the tree trunks is that, well, for me, being right here in Columbia, I was thinking that if we actually had a trunk at the trainings that I do, and they could actually see what's in it physically, because it's one thing to tell them it's available. There's so much available that they leave a session a little bit overwhelmed. So maybe I just bring a trunk and they can actually see what's in it. And then maybe that will ring a bell more when they start to use it in their classrooms.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That's something we've been doing at the physical EE centers, is making sure we bring it out, we use some materials from it. But y'all are more than welcome to borrow them for your training. I mean, that's what they're really there for, whether you actually want to use the materials or you have different activities you might want to use. But I like that idea of just having it, letting them see it, and you know, look through it and see what they have available to them. That's a good idea.
Yeah, we can maybe send it with the guides and
Yeah.
stuff when we
Yeah.
get
Great.
stuff out to people.
And maybe
Good
that's
idea.
something we start doing, is just encouraging, especially places close by that we are going to have to transport guides to anyways. Just, hey, here it is, show it off. Good idea. All right. Ingrid, I see you up next.
Don't have anything planned right now, but maybe John and I can get together and canvass the Spartanburg area and see what opportunities exist.
All right.
All right.
Okay, Dodie.
I have so many ideas. No. I love the Trees and Me, because at the Anderson County Library right now, we have 5 or 6 story times in their family, toddler, preschool. And we have daycares that have started to come in for story times. So it's something with the courtyard that's been renovated with the gardens. We can take them inside, outside. So I'm trying to collaborate with some of the librarians this would be great to collaborate with them to do activities. So that's something. We have homeschool Fun Fridays coming back in the fall since the pandemic's over. So we'll be doing that all the way through the school year. So this is some stuff that I'd like to implement. And then Anderson University is now highly involved in Rocky River Nature Park. And I'm collaborating with the professor that's over that. So hopefully we can get a training out there and can use some of this as well.
Okay. Thank you, Dodie. All right, John.
I just, right before the holiday started, Tim at Roper Mountain and I were kind of talking about hosting a training here at our Arboretum. So we'd be surrounded by trees, but Roper Mountain, and they would bring their tree box and those sorts of things, probably somewhere around the end of September, early October, because it'll be totally outside. We do have a pavilion area, but it would be outside, so we'd have to do it before the weather got bad. And Ingrid, I was gonna invite you to help us when we got more planned in, but that's one thing. And we've got a new dean of education here at Upstate, and as soon as she gets her feet under her too, we're going to reach out to her about providing pre-service for the undergrads here at Upstate, because that's always been something kind of frustrating here that we haven't been able to access. And now that we have a new person, hopefully we can change that going forward. But we are also going to host one of the regional meetups for EEA in the fall here too. So hope everybody up in our corner of the woods can come for that too.
Cool.
Great. All right. Thanks, John. Last but not least, Kelly.
So, sorry, I don't have anything specific planned, but my colleague, who is also a facilitator, will be at the in-person event at the end of July, Cassie Bell. And we have discussed that after that, we're going to make some plans for the year. She usually does PLT in her science methods course during the fall semester. And we've at least discussed with our elementary early childhood program incorporating in those methods courses as well. But again, this year, things were difficult for them with field placements. Teachers would be out and things couldn't be done. And it just made it difficult for them to think about having something else incorporated in at this point, but hopefully we're past some of that difficulty and things will be better for the coming year. Did have a thought about the trunks. If there's an in-person and we're at least displaying the contents of the trunk, maybe the attendees leave with a list of the contents as well, so that they would, you know, even if they don't get to rummage through everything, and even after leaving, they've got something that reminds them these materials are available.
Yeah, that's a great idea. And I actually did create a flyer, kind of towards the beginning of all of this. And it's on the facilitator website, probably under like other resources for leading PD events. And it has a map of the EE centers and just like the centers listed. And then on the back, it does list the inventory for the trunk. So that's something that will definitely have to be updated once we make these revisions. So I'll certainly share that out, and just kind of like the forestry facts that Matt mentioned, it's something I would love for facilitators to print off and share at each training. There it is. We had the center coordinator's contact information on there at first, but we had so much turnover with that, we're constantly having to change it. So this is what the flyer looks like now, and it shows you the different activities and the materials for each activity that are available, and then just some basic information about it. So yeah, that is under resources for outreach and leading PD events. So I'll definitely edit that and then make kind of sure to share that back out with you guys. All right.
Okay. All right.
One more comment about the truck. When y'all first came up with them, I did make a point to pick it up and take it to workshops, but I have to say the transport was the real issue in terms of getting that done, getting to it, or it getting to me, and then the weight of it really needed a little pair of hand trucks because at some of the sites where I've been, y'all can hear me okay, there's a distance to walk, and so to carry it or to go get help to carry it, and that was another thing, to have to consider. So I have to say that I came to use it or take it with me less and less.
Yeah, I understand.
I
Go ahead.
agree.
Yeah.
The museum,
Yeah, it was a challenge.
yeah, the museum that I worked at, we went from having tubs for teachers to backpacks. And that's why I just suggested to Beth is maybe go to a backpack format, because you can sling it over your shoulder. You don't have to have a wheeled vehicle to move it. It's not heavy. And the kids can then carry it for the teacher if they're outside, and take turns carrying it. And that's a privilege, And so I don't know, it just worked out really well for us at the museum to do something that was condensed to a backpack.
Yeah, that's all great suggestions. I totally understand they are very heavy and a little awkward to carry. We mostly use those because they were previously used for a kind of similar program, and they were stationed at our regional offices, and they were just sitting around collecting dust, and we were kind of sad that they weren't being used because they are, nice looking with the PLT logo. So that was kind of our original idea, is that we wanted to repurpose those and reuse them, but I do understand they're pretty big and heavy. So that's where we're thinking maybe 3 separate containers or backpacks for each activity guide, and then materials specific to that. And what we may do is just keep them in the trunk. So the centers still have the trunks, whether they want to put extra materials or guides or those resources in there. But I like the idea of smaller containers that are easier to carry.
I love the fact that it was made of wood. It was very authentic for the purpose. But yeah, it was kind of hard.
Yeah. Sorry, that's just probably my fault. I'm a conservationist, and I don't like to get rid of stuff, and I'm also sentimental, and I know Jerry Schrum had some Boy Scouts make those, and I was like, yeah, we need to try this again. We need to use these. So but yeah, they're cumbersome for sure.
Yeah, you could use them though. I think that storage idea is still very helpful. Like a museum doesn't have a lot of storage, a school doesn't either. And so you could use them just like he said, put the backpacks in them, have
Mhm.
extra materials in them,
Yeah.
so you can repack the backpacks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They still
Good
have
idea.
a purpose, maybe just not the one that.
Currently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understand.
Agreed. Yeah. All right.
I kind of hate to say it, but I felt like a pallbearer. It took two of us.
Yeah.
So,
There should be a disclaimer on the box. You need 2 people to carry this, or a hand truck.
Bring out your dead.
Well, I appreciate everyone's honest feedback. Oh,
All right.
but yeah, if y'all think of any other ideas, please shoot them my way, and I definitely will take that into consideration. All right.
Okay, all right. Well, I guess yeah, we're at 2 hours here. So again, I appreciate everybody's time this morning. Again, Beth and I are here to help you make it happen, and we're the resource for you. And we'll continue. We'll have a fall meetup sometime probably in, I don't know, maybe October or something like that, a virtual facilitator meetup. So just be on the lookout for that announcement. And yeah, just hopefully I know we all cross paths often, and that's a good thing. So all right, and Beth, if you could also stick on this call, Kelly has some questions for us, maybe about something up at Winthrop.
Okay.
Yeah, I do too.
Thank y'all. Thanks
Okay,
for doing
thank
the
you.
virtual since we couldn't make it to the in-person, which I hate. 'Cause I
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, everybody, take care. All right, have a good summer.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I
Okay. Yeah.
Can I interrupt right quick, Kelly?
Sure. Yeah. Yep.
This was being videotaped, was it?
It was. Yep.
So I can see what I missed this morning with the first time. Is that okay?
Yeah, we'll send out that the recording probably I don't know, sometime this month later, so people can, if they want to watch the recording.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yeah, well, a little crisis came up this morning, and then getting on WebEx, which is, y'all are the only one I do WebEx with, so every time it seems like I forget to do something, and it takes me longer to get on, but,
Yeah.
I'll
Do
be.
y'all think, would Microsoft Teams be easier? Do y'all use that?
I don't.
Okay.
Only thing I've used is Zoom.
Yeah, I reached out to our IT person because I personally have issues logging in half the time to WebEx, and he suggested that we don't have a paid account with Zoom, so we can only do it for so long.
Yeah, and that is inconvenient. Often I'm cut off with some, I'm never hosted. I've just been on meetings and had them cut off, right when you, seems like
Yeah.
something important, but,
Yeah.
Maybe our fall meetup, maybe we can try and use Teams, and then we can ask people what they liked better.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll read on that up. Let us know, you'll let us know way ahead of time, I know, and I'll try to figure that out well before time.
Okay.
All right, well, you take care.
Thanks, Sharon. I'll see you in August.
Right, you're at Winthrop, right, Kelly?
am, yeah.
Yeah, I'm a Winthrop grad, class of 67.
That's great. We always, I mean, everywhere we go, there's somebody from Winthrop. And I'm talking about national conferences. I've been in Phoenix, I've been in San Diego. I always have somebody come up and speak to me. And, a lot of times it's that person. Sometimes it's my grandmother graduated from Winthrop, or my aunt, or someone like that. And it's really great to be part of that kind of tradition and legacy.
Yeah, great school. I enjoy it. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Matt, you may want to stop the recording if you can.
Oh yeah.
I see it at the top right, it just says
Yeah.